Deep in my heart, I do believe we shall overcome someday. Besigye will be free. Besigye will be free. Besigye will be free someday. Deep in my heart, I do believe Obeid will be free someday. Lukwago will be free someday.
Semju will be back.
Semju will be back. Semju will be back. Semju will be back someday. Deep in my heart, I do believe Semju will be back someday.
Freedom for all.
All for freedom.
All for freedom.
Freedom for all.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, members of the Fourth Estate. Our press conference will be twofold. One, we shall tell you about Dr. Besigye and court processes, historical perspectives, and what is going to happen. And secondly, we are going to launch 2 campaigns. So stay tuned. Ladies and gentlemen, we are saying that Justice Baguma Emmanuel, who is the presiding judge in the case of Dr. Besigye and Obeid Lutale, ought to recuse himself. In Uganda, we are witnessing a breaking point. The People's Front for Freedom is conscious about the fact that we are at a defining moment of political transition in our country, and at equally a defining segment of a 25-year protracted intention to take our leader, Dr. Kizza Besigye, 6 feet underground. The judicial processes we are currently witnessing in a matter of Dr. Besigye, Elias Lukwago and Obeid Lutale is engineered to rally Ugandans against Dr. Besigye, to legitimize a predetermined death sentence. And the conduct of Justice Baguma is testimony to this. The ulterior motive of all this political melodrama is to pave way for the family political succession to take place while the legitimate opposition figures and opponents are either dead, imprisoned, or in exile. However, the most unfortunate thing is the use of our courts to implement a family political overstay strategy while oppressing Ugandans. The time is now for Justice Flavian Zaija, the Chief Justice, to step in and save the face of the judiciary and to put his house to order before the people of Uganda lose confidence in the entire judiciary, something that may result in anarchy where the people would resort to other methods of demanding justice other than the judicial processes. The People's Front for Freedom accordingly demands the immediate recusal of Justice Baguma from the trial of Dr. Besigye and Obeid Lutale. Every day he remains on this case, the public confidence in the judiciary dies little by little. This is not personal. This is about law, dignity, and survival. The grounds for our demand for recusal for Justice Baguma are clear and urgent. Number one is about bias and a biased and becoming judge. Article 28 guarantees a fair and impartial hearing. Justice Baguma has failed that test. He has acted as both the judge, the complainant in the Besigye case. On the very day Dr. Besigye collapsed in court, Justice Baguma sounded personal. He sounded so personal to Dr. Besigye. He shouted at him. You would remember how he has been blasting Senior Counsel Elias Lukwago in open court, ordering him to sit down, the way our teachers used to instruct us while we were in primary schools of the villages where we were brought up from. A courtroom is not a parade ground, and the intimidation has no place on the bench. Secondly, is the repeated denial of bail contrary to the law. Dr. Besigye has been denied bail 4 times, including cases where Article 23(6)(b made bail mandatory. The relentless denial without cogent reason erodes the presumption of innocence and amounts to pre-trial punishment. Number 3, abuse of process and violation of the right to counsel. Defense counsel have been intimidated for representing their clients. Worse, Justice Baguma unilaterally appointed court brief lawyers before the accused had even seen the list of the lawyers. That was done without instruction, without consent, and in direct violation of Article 28(3)(d), the right to a lawyer of one's choice. 4, the failure of judicial duty during a medical emergency. Members of the Fourth Estate, you will recall when Dr. Besigye collapsed in open court under Justice Baguma's watch, proceedings were not halted. In fact, he continued to demand that he be held so that he can be in court. When he collapsed, Justice Baguma was not concerned to ensure that immediate medical attention is availed to a person before him. There were 3 qualified medical doctors, actually specialists, including Dr. Olive Kousinje, who happens to be a sister of Dr. Besigye, Dr. Kamara Nicholas, here with me, specialist physician, and myself, Dr. Ruru. Justice Baguma could not have the remorse to invite us to render the first aid that Dr. Besigye badly needed. Since then, court has made no inquiry in Dr. Besigye's health, yet pushes to proceed with the trial. This breaches the state's duty to protect life and health under Article 22 and 24, and the court's duty to care to persons in its custody. How I wish Justice Baguma had the guts to go to Mulago to see Dr. Besigye while he was on support systems, life support systems. But he was remorseless. Treats Besigye as his own enemy, as if he has personal vendetta against him. How I wish you would go to the locus and see Dr. Besigye wherever he is, in Iruzira, in a cell where he's getting treatment from. It would show that he cares. That even Dr. Besigye is not necessarily his enemy, but rather a person who is on trial before him. It would have done harm to him. But this man shows that Besigye is not only on trial before him, seeking justice, but he tries him as if he's trying his very enemy. Number 5, judicial misconduct. Taken together, these actions violate the code of judicial conduct. A judge must be dignified, impartial, and humane. Shouting at the accused, silencing counsel, and ignoring a medical emergency falls far short, far below that standard. Our call for medical bail now. A man's life cannot be sacrificed for court proceeding. Dr. Besigye must be granted bail on urgent medical grounds without any further delay. He must be allowed to be evaluated abroad by his own family doctors, and that he can receive adequate medical attention and proper care. The state's failure to act after his collapse in court has already put his life at risk, and I will come back to this. Therefore, Justice Baguma's final act before his recusal must be to grant Dr. Besigye medical bail. That is the bare minimum decency requires. Let him walk out of that courtroom alive, and let his family take responsibility of his treatment. Then he can come back and face the law when he's alive. Members of the Fourth Estate, we are medical doctors, and we know what it means to have an attack called syncope. It means that blood supply to the brain has a transiently stopped, or there is impaired supply to the brain. But that is a transient, you can have a transient loss of consciousness. In other words, it can be for a short time. It can only be for a short time. In other conditions, such as the seizures, which we call fits, in Uganda we call it ensimbu. That one is different. It is something somebody catches or can be born with it, and it can be lifelong. Somebody is on lifelong treatment. And if at all somebody had fits or ensimbu, that is also something else that can easily be diagnosed. Somebody goes into it, gets a seizure, and goes out of the seizure and comes back to normal. That's also different. It's also different when somebody gets a stroke. Somebody may lose consciousness, and we know what stroke is about. But for somebody to have a syncope, which takes all this long without recovery, is something that we need to interrogate as medical officers. We need to interrogate it. What is this that makes somebody collapse? Not only collapse for a short time, but goes into deep coma. Is ignored for a very long time before any medical attention is brought to him. Taken to Mbuya, from Mbuya to Luzira, then from Luzira to Mulago, a space of 8 hours without the medical attention that is required. We had kept quiet for some time, but this is something that we should interrogate. We want to ask the state who was taking the decisions between High Court and Mbuya. Who was taking those decisions, those medical decisions from Mbuya to Luzira? And who took that decision that he should come out of Luzira to Mulago National Referral Hospital? And who is that one taking the decision that he should be referred from the National Referral Hospital to a medical facility in Luzira? Who is that super specialist taking this decision? Ugandans should start to interrogate for that accountability. Maybe we should be in position to understand any intervention that was done between his collapse and by the time he was taken to Mulago, 8 hours away, because it was from midday to around 8 p.m. What were those medical interventions that were done between those hours? We need an explanation of how a syncope can result into a prolonged coma. And we have not got those answers as yet. We have the following demand. In the interest of justice and the integrity of the judiciary, PFF demands the following. Number 1, Justice Baguma must recuse himself, and when he comes to court tomorrow, it is the only way to save his own face and the face of the judiciary. We have been hearing in the background that Justice Baguma and the state functionaries would want to leave Dr. Besigye in a semi-coma condition where he is now, so that they can proceed with the case without him. And that he's telling the state attorneys to make an application before him that the case proceeds even when Dr. Besigye, his cognitive functions have not been re-established. These would be robots, people who have no feeling, who have no remorse. This is a case in which Justice Baguma would like to take Dr. Besigye to Karaba and Obeid Lutale, but he would be willing to proceed with the trial even when Dr. Besigye's cognitive functions have not been re-established. Number 2, Dr. Besigye must be granted immediate medical bail to seek evaluation and treatment abroad by his family and the super specialists in Geneva. And his wife, who works in those auspicious spaces, is willing to undertake that charge without the state aiding financially. We want Dr. Besigye to be alive again. Number 3, the case must be reassigned immediately to another High Court judge, preferably not a cadre judge. Number 4, the Judicial Service Commission must open investigations into the conduct described above. Let us be clear. A sick accused, a silenced defense, and a judge who shouts instead of listening cannot deliver justice. Justice must not only be done, it must be seen to be done. And right now, Ugandans cannot say it. Thank you very much for hearing us and for your kind attention. May God bless you.
Besigye will be free.
Besigye will be free. Besigye will be free someday. Deep in my heart, I do believe Besigye will be free someday.